All right, guys, so in the last video, we kind of worked on this side of the car and we got it in epoxy primer. And then we put it on hold here because of the torque boxes and the frame rails in this area. The frame rails actually look okay, but it's like the torque box inside that's kind of rusted there. So what we're gonna go ahead and do today is we're gonna go ahead and basically cut out a section of this frame rail. We're gonna separate it from the torque box. We're gonna take a look and see if we can repair the torque box or if we have to replace the whole thing. I was kind of doing some just picking around over here, and it's pretty solid, though there was some rust under this undercoating that's here. So going around here, you know, it's definitely under here, but it's solid. But we'll take a look once we get in there. You know, I don't want to replace the whole torque box, so we'll see what this is and see how it goes. But from inside the car, everything was solid, so I'm not too worried about that. We can always find some kind of spray or something to put in there as long as it's solid and good to go. But this part here, this is pretty bad here. It's all flaking apart and everything. So, and then you can see in here, it's swelling up. There's at least, it looks like there's at least 3 layers of metal in here. We got the frame rail, the torque box, and then I don't know, maybe a reinforcement plate in the torque box or something. But we'll find out once we tear into this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of where this overlaps here, I'm going to come straight down with a cut and just go around, and then we'll drill out the spot welds and get the frame rail separated from the torque box and take a look. And then this torque box is in worse shape than the one down here. So while this one has swelling and everything as well, it doesn't have as big of a hole in the side, and then the areas around here where I kind of picked around, there's really no signs of rust over there. So but we do have this hole here. I don't know what that's from because all of this seems pretty solid. So maybe it was just a small rust spot, or maybe something punctured it at some point and it kind of, you know, whatever. But you can see like here, this dent here must have been where either they had it on a jack or a jack stand, who knows. So same up here, there's a nice dent there, but you know, the car's very old and it's been through a lot, I'm sure. So we'll go ahead and cut this one out in the same area, and that'll take care of this and these dents as well, because we'll see if we can make a new piece here or whatever. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to do this one for right now. I got a busy weekend here, so I don't know how far I'll get. We'll at least get this off, take a look, and see where we are from there. All right, guys, so we're ready to lay down some tape so that we can make a nice straight cut on the frame rail here. So as with most patches and stuff, you just want to remove the least amount of metal that you have to. So this is all really solid in here. I don't see any issues with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just run some tape down through here, and then we'll make a cut on this side somewhere, and then we'll remove this piece. If we do find more damage in here, then we'll go ahead and just go back more. All right, so we got the cut made, and I got a little carried away and went through my floor pan here, but that's okay. We'll just repair that whenever we get this stuff back together. So anyway, this is good to go. So we're going to go ahead and find the spot welds and drill them out. You can see here's one, and there's probably some buried under this undercoating. So a lot of times what you can do is you can just take a sanding disc and go across there, and the low spots will be where your spot welds are. So we'll go ahead and give that a try. That works really well. Well, it works sometimes whenever you got a lot of rust. In this case, it should work pretty well because, well, we don't have too much rust on the outer side here. So anyway, we're ready to go. And there's something to keep in mind, like there's a little bit of flex here, you know, so now I cut that. So you just want to keep that in mind. I'm not too worried about any of this moving because I have all new quarter panels, tail pan, all that stuff on it. It'd be probably pretty difficult to move. All right, so we got this spot weld taken care of. We get this one. The drill bit does pretty well. You know, once you get an air chisel under here, everything will go pretty well. And we got one right up in here, and one here, and there's probably one in here. I just can't see it yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the air chisel, and we're gonna go ahead and start prying this off gently. You know, if we run into a spot weld somewhere, we'll go ahead and take care of that. So let's go ahead and get the air chisel out and start taking it off. All right, guys, so I was trying to just, speed this up a little bit, use the air hammer and find the spot welds and then drill them out. And it wasn't going well. I'm like destroying my piece here, and I need to keep this as good as I can. So I grinded it all down, and you can see how much easier it is to see the spot weld. Here's one. I already got this one. And then if we go underneath here, you can see that we have one here, one here. Looks like we have one here, maybe one here. So got a couple. We got one there. I don't see any up here yet, so maybe we're good there. And this is kind of unfortunate. I mean, look how good this metal is here. That's why it's giving me a lot of trouble too, because it's not really that rusty except for these areas here. So anyway, let's go ahead and try to get this off. If I have to, we'll just start cutting it out in sections. I'm trying not to destroy this piece here with the air chisel. So let's go ahead and grind these out and see if it goes any better. Pretty good sized drill bit just caught there, snapped. Took my wrist with it, but all's good. It's kind of crazy though. Anyway, let's get back to it. All right, guys, so we got the frame rail out. That did not go as I planned. I was hoping to get all of that out in one piece so I could have something nice to remake that. But there were just spot welds every which way that some I didn't see. And down here gave me a lot of problem. They were like in the joint here, or where the bend happens. They were kind of up in here, and it was hard to get. Ended up doing a little bit of damage, but we will repair that, no big deal. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I ended up cutting this off in 3 pieces. So I cut that's basically along the top here to get this piece, and then along the bottom here to get this piece, and then finally I got this piece here. So anyway, we still have the paint lines and everything here. So before we get too far from that, I'm gonna go ahead and make some cardboard templates so I have them. Then once I get that done, basically I think what I'm gonna do is try to clean this up and see what it looks like, because this is pretty solid back here, and on this side it's pretty solid. I mean, this was all really solid here. So looks like what happened over the years, we just got salt and moisture, dirt, whatever, in between the frame rail and this piece, and it just started eating away at it. The third layer of metal, let's see if we can see it through here. So if you look in there, you can see that there's an extra plate about right here, and that plate comes up and just wraps up this way. It does not go this way. So if we're out here, the plate comes from underneath out and up, and it ends about right here. So I'm guessing it's just a little bit of extra strength. I don't know what its purpose is, why they didn't just make this piece thicker, but maybe it's just was too hard to bend or something back then, I don't know. But anyway, that piece is pretty much rotted out. I think that's what a lot of the swelling's from. It's from the piece in here. The frame rail's not bad at all. I can still see, I believe that to be the red primer that's in there. And I don't know if we'll be able to see, but if you look all the way in the back, it looks like there's some red primer back there as well. So that doesn't look too bad. There was a lot of junk in here, but I think it was all from this piece here. So metal wise, I think this looks to be about 18 gauge. This looks to be about 16 gauge, and the piece inside looks to be about 16 gauge. So those are the sizes that I'm going to use to make any pieces I need here. All right, guys, so here's the 3 pieces that we had. So this is what goes kind of, this is the bottom of the frame rail, I guess, if you were looking at the car from the underside. So it sits like that. And then we have this piece, which way did I cut? Okay, I cut this way. So this likely goes here like so. So we'll have that one. And then over here, we have this piece. So you can kind of see where most of the, you know, here's the hole on the side that we were looking at earlier. And then here is the inside where it was butted up against the torque box. Just lots of corrosion. Look how thick that metal is right there from that torque box piece. So just kind of came off. All right, guys, I know this was a mystery for me whenever I started into this, so hopefully this video helps some other people out there kind of understand how all that works. In the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I made this custom frame rail. So if you like that type of content, consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get alerts whenever we post new videos. We'll see you in the next one.